Halloween is around the corner, and I thought, why not suggest 5 underrated films and TV shows that you should watch this Halloween because they are good as fuck. Now, all of these shows aren't really like on the same level of scariness, but they are all very vibe. They fit the vibe perfectly for Halloween, and you'll enjoy them. They're not like boring or slow. That's the main thing also, because I see a lot of people suggest movies or TV shows that are these niche shows or like pieces of medias, but they're just so boring, and you just don't want that on Halloween or like some special day. Like, who wants that? People just want to chill. At least that's what I want, so I'm suggesting you these. So the first one has to be Shaitan. Okay, I'm starting off the list a little weak, I know. I'm saving the best one for last. But Shaitan is pretty good actually. If you haven't watched it, you should. It's not the most scariest film ever, but it is a very tight script and the pacing is done pretty well. I don't know why people were complaining about the pacing. I think it was done pretty well. And you can say that some of the concepts were like, okay, we get it. Like we get, if you don't know, the premise is basically that this guy is can do black magic and controls Ajay Devgan's daughter and wants to kidnap her to use her for his like more devious plot, which you'll find out if you watch the movie. And the way he does that and showcases his power is pretty good and scary and like creepy in a way. It's not scary like you'll be scared shitless, but it's scary in the way that, oh, it's a nice campy horror film, like one of those good old films that you can see the appeal and you can see the horror, but at the same time it's not like scary in the same way that maybe Conjuring or some found footage film would be. Next film, I Ghost Stories. Now there is this one segment in that series that I'll get to in a minute, but the only segment that I did not like in this series was Anurag Kashyap's segment, and that's the weakest one for me. Not because it was not scary, actually I think it was really fucking scary and dark, but that's the thing, it was too scary and dark for me. At least when I watched it initially, I just did not like it because I just was very negative for me, like a negative experience. I wasn't scared, I was just like very sad and dark. That's it. So I am not into that. The best one in this is the Bakar Banerjee segment. It's so fucking good, guys. Like, you need to watch it. This is a movie, I think, and it's like 144 minutes long, and you have these 4 or 5 segments, and then the best one is the Bakar Banerjee's segment. It's like the best creature horror piece of media that you'll see from India, at least in the last couple of years, and it's actually really fucking good and scary. Like, if this one is proper scary, this is the good one. And I know I was saying that I was going to start the list off weak, but yeah, this is a heavy one, guys. You need to watch this series, especially for that Debakar Banerjee segment. And all of these segments are like 20-30 minutes long at best. I think 20 minutes long, really. Tumbar. I know, guys, that I know that most people who are watching this show have probably watched Tumbar, but you should probably rewatch Tumbar if you haven't in a while. If you were someone who caught it while the re-releases were running, then sure, skip this one and just move on to the next movie in the list. But if you haven't, like, you need to watch it again. I know you remember that it's good and you remember the plot, but you need to watch it again. The movie is filled with little details that are so good that you'll catch something new in every watch, and the atmosphere is so well built. Like, the whole movie is really good. It's not boring, and it's genuinely scary in a way that like kind of makes you shit your pants, but also in a way that like teleports you into this magical folktale world. That's the best thing about these new horror movies that India is making and Indian filmmakers are making, that they're kind of like a folk tale. They're not like, oh, a ghost is haunting a house. It's like a folk tale with a message and creatures and like really dark, twisted stuff. But in the end, it's like very good, and the world building is great. So I think you should watch it. Now I'm saving the best one for the last, but I'll give you one that is equally, if not better, as a horror film, quote unquote, than my first pick, and it's Kantara. Another, I know, a huge hit, and I know most of you have probably watched it, but you need to watch it if you haven't, especially the last 15 or 20 minutes of the film. I'm going to make a whole video about that 15-20 minute segment, so stay tuned for that and subscribe. But like, that part of the film is so scary and heart-wrenching. Just like, we watch horror movies and yes, it's scary, but there are very few horror films that really make your heart like hurt, like not just because it's horrific and scary, or like a ghost or supernatural entity, but in a way that's like really emotional and deep, and that you kind of have to sit with for a while. And this one is like deep like that, like it's dark. And the story and the movie in general is pretty good, although it's pretty long, and I can see why some people might think it's kind of boring, but I don't think that. I think they do a pretty good job at showcasing the life of the character and life in the village. I'm not getting into the premise of the film, but if you like movies about deities and again folk tales, if you like The Witch or Hereditary, if you've watched Hollywood films, then you need to watch Kantara. It's, in my opinion, and I know this is controversial, it's better than almost every film I've watched that is around this subject. Okay, the first pick, and I know this is going to be controversial, but Bhool Bhulaiya, the original Priyadarshan one, is the best fucking horror film ever. Not only is it scary, not only is it deeply emotional when Vidya Balan's character is telling her story or when they cut back to the flashback, but it's so atmospheric. It just transcends you into this world, into that mahal, and it's so funny at the same time. That's what makes it even more horrific, because there are funny parts, but then the night comes and it really is fucking scary, because even the character who's supposed to be funny is now scared shitless. It's really good. It has a message. It's really clever. It doesn't rely just on ghosts and stuff. Not that that makes a film bad. Of course, it's horror. You're going to have supernatural elements. But this film does not have that. Spoiler alert. And it's just so deeply well made. Like, everything about it is so well thought of and works. And there are little details that I missed when I watched it, because I was a kid and I watched it in the theater and I was just scared shitless back then. But even now, like, I thought this is just a massy kind of like a normal Bollywood production, but turns out Priyadarshan was really cooking when he filmed this filmed this movie, sorry. And everything from the music to the atmosphere to the cinematography to the little details and the acting, the dialogues, everything, the comedy, everything works. And this is not a horror comedy, it's actually a proper horror film with comedic elements here and there, but it's not like horror comedy like Stree or something. That's why I'm not including horror comedies, because I just don't like that genre. Like, I just don't find that genre rewatchable. I like the movies, I like to go and watch them in the theater, but they're not rewatchable. Whereas these 5 films, you'll fucking rewatch them as many times as you want. And if you like, and comment down below if you want another video like